your life is on the line and you know that you're on an oxygen tank and they're going to put two in your head, see what you do. Because the bottom line is that me, I'm one person. I can never miss.
Guy's not being loyal to you. How could you be loyal to him? Yeah. And whether you're your father or not. So, but it's always been hard because it was my father.
The word came down, this guy had to go. We didn't know nothing about him until the last minute. And I liked him. I liked Bill. He was a nice guy, but...
Welcome to the show.
And I'm chatting with Staxx. I'm out of here. I'm going to Florida.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Frank Dimatteo. What's up, Frank?
How you doing, Stat?
I'm great, man. You got a phone call?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I gotta shut it off.
So how have you been, man?
I'm good. I think we're good. I'm good, and you?
I've been great, moving along, doing a lot of interviews with some pretty influential people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty crazy. I get to speak with some of the people that I talk to.
It's good. You get the more people you meet on this thing. You keep meeting other people, new people. It's good.
Yeah. Do you know Larry Rolla?
No, I don't think so.
He was a horse jockey. Larry Rolla.
I don't think so.
He was fixing a lot of races back in the day. He had dealings with John Gotti, Nicky Barnes, a lot of influential people.
Well, maybe if I knew, maybe I would have made some money, but no.
Probably. He was a pretty big gambler.
Yeah, no, I don't remember.
So back in your day, how influential was Crazy Joe Gallo?
Well, amongst us, he was the boss, so he was very, influential. In the street, he was, he was well known, well feared, liked, disliked, but he carried a big stick with him. He was, somebody to be reckoned with. So I would say he was a pretty big for the time.
Yeah, he would walk to the beat of his own drum, right?
Not about that, 100%, man. Joey was in his own mind.
Yeah. So can you explain some of your first dealings with Joey?
Well, when I first met Joey when I was a little boy, and he came in as an uncle, over to my parents' house, and just would come in and smile, pinch my cheek until I cried, and just laugh and just do his business with my father. He left when I was like 6, 7. And he came back when I was like 16 or something like that. And so I was only around him the last year he lived, which was about a year. I think it was 71 to 72. I was with him. And that's when I got close with Joey. As close as you could get with Joey because he was moving around so much. And we were younger, So it was an experience, but.
Do you remember any of the crazy stories that either Joey or anyone around him have told you about him back in the day? Like how he got the name Crazy Joe?
Same thing. Joe, everybody would talk about would be, Roy or the other cool guys would talk about how crazy Joe was as far as being, an enforcer for Joe Bafacci. And Joe would send him out to collect money. He would beat somebody to half the debt to get the money and come back, or just scared of the debt. They used to go to tell the Bafacci guys, don't send Joe Gallo, send someone else. You get your money, just don't send Joe. So he was a pretty he was a bad dude. So he didn't take no crap. And, they tell stories like that. I mean, I heard, why I'm a stickler about them killing Albert Anastasia was because you sit with these guys in intimate settings, and they don't speak like tell you a story like we're telling a story, but him and her, and they all say Joey and Larry was on that hit, and Come On Persico. That's how they made their bones, and that's how they got straightened out. And in fact, Roy said one time that the Bafacci wouldn't straighten them out because Bafacci didn't really care for Joe Gallo. and he got his button right after they killed Anastasia. So everything just lines up, together. So, and then coming from Roy's mouth, I would believe it more than anything else. Any other story, I would believe.
What about Joe Gallo's father? He had a father, right? That was pretty influential too.
Yeah, Papa Gallo. Yeah, Papa Gallo was an old man. He was into bookmaking and had a big book and shylocking, and he used to play cards. And one of the young guys were always assigned to Papa Gallo to pick him up, drive him, bring him cigars, pick him up, bring him to the card game. He used to play a lot of cards on Henry Street. There were some card games going on Henry Street, downtown Brooklyn. So one of us used to have to pick him up or bring him there. We didn't have to wait all the time, but or get his cigars. He was quiet, a little grumpy, but treated us good. So I got nothing bad to say about Papa Gallo.
Was he a made man?
No, Papa wasn't straight out. No, he wasn't. He was no. He was just a father. I mean, he ran a lot of things from the early days, but no, he wasn't straight out.
So there's another Gallo, and I don't know if you know this one. Do you know this guy?
Yeah, Joe Gallo. Yeah, he's with the Colombo family. Yeah.
So what association did he have with any of these guys? Was he related to Crazy Joe?
No, not related at all. It just happened to be his name, Joe Gallo, and he wound up being with the Colombos.
So I'm sure when they said, "Hey, Joe Gallo's coming to get the money," they probably said, "Oh, yo, bam," even though it's not this guy, right?
Oh yeah, the name stuck, but he was. I think he was with the Colombos for many years. I don't know if he's still alive, but he's been down there a long time. Same name, but different people, and not related.
So you said about a whole year you were spending around Crazy Joe Gallo, right?
Yeah. He was out early 71. He died, on his birthday, 72. So we got to see him a lot when he came down the Pleasure Street, because we were down Pleasure Street where the clubs were. So he would come down once a week, talk with us, bullshit with us, and then he stood in the city, always moving around a lot. I mean, I would see him once a week, but it was in a light frame of not sit down on business or nothing like that, because we were younger guys, unless he would tell us to go do something or grab something. But he was very friendly with us, very warm. My father was his brother's bodyguard from until he died, so they were very close. And so being his son, I get little perks of being a little closer than other guys. But I mean, I was there a couple of times when we lost his temper, and he was no joke when he lost his temper.
What would he lose his temper over? For what reason?
His envelopes. If somebody had to give him money and they were late, and he would tell everybody, "You're going to give me an envelope, or you're not leaving here alive." I mean, he was just like that. Or you got an hour to get back, or I'm going to break your face, or you're going to die. I mean, I saw guys piss their pants. With Joey. In fact, he gave a beating to one guy. Me and Gumbaril was on the club. In fact, we were on the roof doing something, and we looked down. We looked down, and he's got this guy against the wall. He gets screaming at him, smacking the shit out of him over, some money owed. And the guy jumps in his car, told me, "Give me an hour to get back." I mean, he gave him a nice beating, but the guy jumped in his car, got to the corner, actually hit I think he hit a pole and fell out of the car. He was beaten so bad. The guys had to run down the block and put him back in his car, wake him up, put him back in his car, and told him, you got 49 more minutes to go get the money. Just stuff like that.
I'm sure a lot of people probably took off, never came back. Like, I'm not dealing with this.
I mean, that'd be stupid. I mean, probably people did, but most people went and found the money, because most of them degenerate gamblers, or they find the money, just play games with you. But when the shit's the fan and you get somebody that don't take no crap like Joe, you're gonna have to cough it up. Because they like to take from Peter, give Paul, then pay Paul one day. That's how these guys work, man. So, but Joey take no shit like that. So he was pretty bad dude. So they wasn't dealing with Joe. So they were dealing with somebody else in the crew. But when Joe stepped in on it, then they started shaking their pants. You know what I mean? That's when it got a little more serious. But Joey was he was a unique guy. I mean, very friendly with us because we're with him. So there's no reason not to be. But but you'll either love Joey or you hated Joey. You know, we happen to love Joey because we were very passionate. Because I grew up as a kid, his brother and with my father, and then it just ran over to him. And we were very close. The whole crew was very close.
Did they ever tell you any stories about Carmine Persico?
Well, they were always yelling about Carmine that he was a rat and a snake, a snake, and how he was with Larry and Joey in the beginning of that first war with the Joe Bafacci, and he was just. But he always said he was a tough guy. But they said he was a tough guy. They hated him, after he did that. And they said that's why they called him a snake. Punchy started with that snake shit. But they always said he was a tough guy. They always said that. Snake, you couldn't trust them, but tough as they come.
Do you know the story about when Punchy got strangled?
Well, Larry got strangled.
Larry.
Yeah. They were doing a break. They were trying to break away from Bafacci and Carmine, a person called a couple of guys were backing up Larry and Joey and that crew. And at one point, Carmine got a better deal from Bafacci, and he switched sides again. Larry, not knowing that this was going on, got a phone call to go down to Sahara on New York Avenue. It was a bar we used to have. A lot of guys hung out in. He got the call to go down there. There was nobody to drive. Blast was there, and he didn't want Blast to drive him. And he didn't want to wait, so he jumped in the car. He did take someone with him. I don't remember. I think he went by himself. And wound up, they were laying up for him, and they tried to kill him. And they strangled him. They didn't kill him because a cop walked in.
And then the cop was trying to question him, like, what happened? And he would not talk, right?
No one. Even the guy that shot the cop in the face, he got caught too. And nobody said, those guys didn't say nothing. Those guys were tight-lipped.
Yeah, it's like, I got a scratch on my neck. It's nothing.
Exactly. He said he knew nothing. He said he was having a drink and he didn't know nothing. He blacked out. Didn't see nobody. Who was with? He said no one was there in the beginning. He was just standing by himself. So no, those guys didn't talk nothing. They were very quiet. It's not like today. And then they went to war again. And this guy's got killed on both sides. And and then Larry, what's his name? Joey wound up going to jail right in the middle of it. And then what's his name? Then Bafacci died, and his underboss took over. And
when Bafacci died, what was the mood like around the neighborhood, and what were the
no one liked him. No one liked Joe Bafacci. No one liked him unless it's close. It was close guys that were with him, family, close old timers that were with him that earned a little bit. Otherwise, not too many guys in the crew really care. Forget about the Gallo crew; they despised them. But even guys his own, closer to him, didn't care for him. They were earning, they were with him, but he wasn't well liked at all. The guy was really, really, not. He didn't treat his guys very well, except for the guys real close to him. So he wasn't well liked. So when he dropped dead, of the cancer, nobody gave a shit.
That's when the war ended, right?
Now, it went on a while because his underboss, I think Magliotto, I think he was still going back and forth. Because don't forget, but prior to that, they kidnapped Joey and Larry and those guys kidnapped Magliotto and tried to get a peace deal with Bafacci. And Magliotto pissed his pants while he was, while they kidnapped him. So he hated Joey and Larry. So he was the underboss. And when he took over, he just kept it going for a while. and then I think he got a heart attack and dropped there too.
He wanted to get rid of Joey and Larry.
The whole crew, between Joe Bafacci and Magliotto, they wanted to kill them all. There was like 15 guys on that hit list that had to go. They were all on the death list that they tried for the year and a half to 2 years to get.
And they did get some people, right?
Yeah, they got a few guys. They got Joe Maggs, they got him on Union Street and 4th Avenue, but that wasn't a hit. That was Joe Maggs went up to captain in the Colombo family, in the Bafacci family at the time, and he was arguing because he's supposed to, give more support to Joey and Larry in there because they wanted more. They wanted Bafacci to give them more pieces, more power, more territory, and a Sherlock book, bookmaking book, sports book, and Bafacci wasn't doing it, so they were grumbling and they were talking to the skippers and this Fontana, I think it was Fontana, he was saying yeah I want to help, and he wasn't really doing nothing. Everybody was getting a little frustrated. And Joe Maggs and a couple of guys were in a car. They saw him on 4th and Union. And Joe Maggs gets out and starts, speaking to him. Got a little heavy with him and started yelling and because he didn't like the way he was answering him. And his bodyguard wound up killing Joe Maggs. I was there. I was a little kid at the time when they killed Joe Maggs. And they killed Joe. And then they killed Alibaba coming off a ship. I mean, these guys, were laying up for each other for, 2 years, So a couple of guys got killed. Louis Cadillac got killed in Long Island. From guys that were with them, and they didn't know that they went on the other side, and they got caught short too. 4 or 5 guys I know from that, but I was young at that time, but I knew they were.
Now, do you remember when Joe Colombo started his come up with the Civil Rights League and all that stuff's going on?
We went to the first one, 1970. We all had to go. We went to 1970, the first one, and everybody had to show face. So we went to that one, and then when Joey got out in 71, everybody was told not to go to the second one. And that second one is where he got shot. Joe Colombo. But
now,
do
you remember the message when it came back that Joe Colombo got shot, and what was the mood and what was going on at the time?
Yeah, when Joe Colombo got shot, we were on the club on President Street. I was with Roy Musico, and he just when it came back, he goes, "Holy shit, we're in trouble." Because they knew we were going to blame us right away because a black guy shot Joe Colombo. And it was going to come right back to us because Joe Gallo and Joe Colombo was feuding at the time. For the whole year, they were feuding. Joey wouldn't answer to Joe Colombo's the boss. Gallows is a crew in that family. They were just so renegades, and he just wasn't answering no more, putting no more envelopes, no more nothing. He was separating everything, Joey, away from the Colombos. So there was a lot of shit going on at the time. So when he got killed, we were right away. We were in trouble, So I just remember that night they just said, "Don't leave the block. Start getting some, reach out, get some guns to bring to the block. You know what I mean? And just don't go nowhere until we get any word from anybody what's going on and stuff like that." That's pretty much happened. But do we care? Joe Colombo got killed. We didn't care because we weren't with Joe Colombo. I mean, we were with Joey. I mean, they didn't like each other, so we didn't like Joey Colombo.
Yeah. You got to stick with the guy who's running the show.
We're with Joey. Joey to us is the boss. No, there's nobody else. That's how that crew acted. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's what we knew, and that's how we acted. So we didn't care he got killed. I mean, it's a shame people get killed all the time, but you play this game, and that's what happens.
And now, did Crazy Joe or anybody else in the crew? You said that they were going to blame him because it was a black guy. What was their thoughts on that? Were they saying the same thing, like they're going to blame us because the black guy shot him?
Of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Louis the Syrian, all the guys who was a consigliere on President Street, and Punchy Liano, they all the same thing. Blast was there, because Larry died a few years before that, cancer. Yeah, the same thing. They say they're gonna come after us. Stay on the block and get ready. To rumble, and that's what we did. I mean, Larry and Joey and Blast got called to Mulberry Street on a meeting to try to straighten that out because they claimed they didn't do it, and there was a few meetings with that, and they got, apparently the way I hear, they got cleared. They got cleared for it, but the Colombo family, that family was after Joey anyway. It doesn't matter. He got cleared. They say it's him. That's it.